Good morning, students. Welcome to my class. Students, today we will begin with one of the most interesting and important topic in English grammar, which is tense. We need to learn it well to speak and write English correctly. So far, we had been doing the basics of English grammar. This is again also basic, but we were doing to form the base to learn the tenses. In the previous chapter, we learned the forms of verbs. We learned two classes of two kinds of verbs, which are finite and non-finite verbs, and that are gonna be used while we will be learning tenses. Let's start with the meaning and concept of tense. Students, in tense we basically learn the learn to use the correct forms of verbs, the different forms that we learned in the previous lesson. We will be using to form correct tenses. So the tense means it describes the time and state of an action taken place. Whenever we do something, we perform something, we take help of the verb to speak, and that verb is used in two ways, or that verb has a time when the action was performed and in a particular state. Further described what are the different states of a verb that we use to describe different things at different time. Let us try to understand through an example what exactly time and state means and how are they combined to form tenses. Here there is a sentence, they are playing for the final. You can easily find out the verbs here, are and playing. You can also see playing is the main verb and are is the helping verb. You can also identify that playing is used in a particular state, which describes playing describes a continuous state. The action is in which state? Continuous state. But we don't say what time is it in, but the helping verb are is helping to describe the time, or we can say are is describing the time. So here we can say the verb is in continuous state and the time is present, which is described by are. So which tense it is in? It is in the time is present and the state is continuous, so the tense is present continuous. I hope this will help you identify the tenses correctly. Now let's see what are the other states in which a verb may be used. A verb may be used in three different states, such as simple state, continuous state, or completed state, which is also called perfect. Continuous state we have already discussed about when an action is continue, we say the verb is in continuous state. When an action is completed or over, we say it is in perfect or completed state. And when we cannot exactly say, when we leave the action in indefinite state, we say it is in simple state. So these are the three different states. And when they are combined with different times, which are present, past and future, they form tenses. Like when the simple state comes with present time, it forms simple present. When continuous states comes with it, it forms present continuous. Similarly, present perfect and present perfect continuous. In the past time as well, it forms simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. Similarly, in the future time also, it forms simple future tense, future continuous tense, future perfect tense, and future perfect continuous tense. So, I hope now the concept of tense is clear to you now. So, there are altogether 12 tenses that we use in our English language. Now, students, we will begin with each of the tenses one by one. We will learn in which form we keep the verb in a particular tense and in which condition we use that particular tense. So we will be starting with simple present and simple past tense today. Simple present tense has the structure of the sentence structure in the simple present is, in the positive sentence we start with subject and then we use the verb in which form, we in the present form. I have already taught you that a verb has different forms, or a verb is found in different forms, which are present form and past form as finite verb, and present participle and past participle as non-finite verbs. So here in simple present tense, we use the present form of the verb. So it starts with subject, then verb, then we use object or complement. Here you can see in the example, he plays well. Here you can see starting with subject, verb is in present form, and then complement. They run a mile every day. Here again, they subject run in present form, a mile every day. So we are using the present form of the verb in simple present tense. In the negative sentences, we use do or do not or does not or simply not. Starts again with the subject, then verb in the base form. Now here you need to remind that most of the verbs have the same form as base form and present form, but there are verbs, there is verb of course, like be is the base form of base form of the verb be, and the present of verb be is am are. So whenever you are using the verbs in negative, in simple present tense, you need to use the base form of the verb. So subject plus verb plus do or does with not an object and complement. Like in the sentence we see, he doesn't play well, they don't run a mile every day. Here you need to remember when we use do, when we use does. So do is used with first person singular and plural, and third person plural and second person singular plural both. First person singular plural, second person singular plural, and third person plural nouns. We use do. Third person singular subjects we use doesn't. What are the singular subjects in third person? They are he, she, it, and singular nouns. So here you can see he has taken doesn't, they is the third person plural, so we have used don't. Similarly, in the positive sentences, in the affirmative sentences also, we use the s form of the verb with third person singular, and rest will take the other form without s. Interrogative sentence starts with, as you know, the auxiliary verb, helping verb, or the WH question word, WH pronoun. So we will follow the same rule. First person and second person and third person plural will take do, and third person singular will take does. I hope you have learned to write sentences correctly in affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences in simple present tense. Now we will learn the uses. In which condition, situation we can use this tense. Students, simple present tense is used to describe any action that is your habit, that that is your habit, or that you do as a routine work. Habit or routine work is something which we repeat every day. Like, I wake up in the morning. It happens every day. So this is always written in simple present. Then all the facts, universal truth, permanent truth, or facts are expressed in simple present tense, such as the earth is round. It's a permanent fact, it's a universal truth. So we will be using simple present tense to express such kind of facts. Any general or scientific facts, as I discussed, the earth is round. This is a fact, general fact, or you can say permanent truth. This has been expressed in simple present. The sun rises in the east. This is also a fact, universal truth. So we have used simple present tense. The natural quality of a person or object is also written in or expressed in simple present tense as honey tastes sweet. This is the nature of the honey. So whenever you express the nature or describe the nature of any object or a person, that will be in simple present. He is an honest man. That is the nature. Again, is in simple present tense. Proverbs. Proverbs are also expressed in simple present tense. Whatever the proverbs are, like two and two makes four, labor never goes in vain, slow and steady wins the race. Whatever the proverbs are, always written in simple present tense. So let's sum it up. The habitual action or repeated action, any fact, whether scientific, universal, nature of person or thing, proverbs, these are all expressed in simple present tense. The second use of simple present tense is whenever we describe any fixed event of future time, any planned event or fixed event of future time, we use simple present tense. Usually, the timetable of planes and trains are fixed. The itinerary, the description of the journey of celebrities, dignitaries are always planned and fixed. So whether we whether the action will happen in future, but we speak that in simple present, we use the simple present tense. As you can see in the example, the chief minister arrives at 10 a.m. next week. You can see the time is future, next week. The action will happen in future time, but since it is fixed and planned, we have used the verb in simple present tense. Similarly, the first example, the train leaves at 4 p.m. tomorrow. As I told you, the timetable of planes and flights are always fixed. So, whether you are speaking about tomorrow's train, you will use the simple present tense to describe. The third important use of simple present tense is in conditional sentences. We have learned three kinds of conditionals: first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. First conditional express the possibility that is likely to happen. It has two clauses, one is if clause and the other is main clause. The if clause in first conditional is always written in simple present. As you can see in the example, the match will be cancelled if it rains. If it rains is the conditional clause and which has been written in simple present. You won't be given attendance if you are late. If you are late is the conditional clause that has been written in simple present. So these are the most important uses of simple present tense. I hope it's clear to you now and will be able to use correct form of verbs and correct uses of simple present tense. Let us now move to simple past tense. We'll be beginning with the structure again. In simple past tense, the sentence starts with subject, then we use verb in past form, and then object and complement. You know what you have to learn: the past form, the present form, the participle, present participle form, and the past participle form of the verb. You have to learn these forms of all the verbs to use them correctly in different tenses. So we start with subject, then we use the verb in past form, and then object and complement. As you can see in the example, he played well in the previous match. Played is the verb which is in past form. You submitted your assignment last time. Here submitted is a verb which is in past form. One more thing that you need to remind is whenever you use simple past tense, you are supposed to use an of adverb of time. Like I have used the previous match or the last time. These are all describing the time of past. Let's move to negative sentence. Negative sentence uses the verb in base form and then comes did not and then the same. Like he did not play well in the previous match. Here you can see We have used did not to make it negative, and we have used the main verb in base form. Similarly, you didn't submit your assignment last time. Again, here did not has been used to make it negative and the verb is in base form, which is submit. Moving to interrogative sentence, starts with did, then subject, and then verb in base form, and it ends with question mark. Remember to put a question mark after each interrogative sentence. So I hope the structure of the simple past tense is clear to you, and you will be able to form correct sentences in affirmative, negative, and interrogative in simple past tense. Let's move to the uses now. We use simple past tense to describe any habit or routine work of past time or any action of past time that took place in past time. Any action that took place in past time is expressed through simple past tense. As you can see in the example, she lived in Delhi 2 years ago. This is something happened in past time. That's why we have used the simple past tense. They used to wander around in childhood. This is an habitual action of past time. This sentence expresses the habit of childhood. Usually childhood is past, so it describes the habit when somebody was a child, what he used to do. So they used to wander around in childhood. This describes the habit of past time. That's why it has been written in simple past tense. The second important use of simple past is whenever we use to express wish or supposition. Wish means wish that is unlikely to fulfill, that is not real, that is supposition, that we suppose. All right. So such kind of wish or supposition is expressed in conditional second conditional sentence. And in second conditional sentence, the conditional clause is written in simple past. As you can see, if I were a king, I would make everyone happy. You can see it's a wish or supposition which is not possible, which is impossible. And the conditional part, if I were a king, has been written in simple past tense. The past form of be has been used. He talks as if he were my boss. As if, it's not is, it's if. He talks as if he were my boss. So as if he were my boss is something supposition. We suppose that he talked in a way like my boss. So this has been also expressed in simple past tense with the help of past form of be. I hope you are getting all these right, and you are forming your own examples. Third is simple past tense is used when a new action takes place in the middle of an ongoing action. When something is happening in the past time, a new action begins at the same time. In that time, for the new action, we use simple past tense. Let's try to understand through an example. I prepared salad while mother was cooking. One action was already going on, which was my mother was cooking. At the same time, I started doing something. So that new action is written in simple past, which is I prepared salad. Now, I was watching television when my friend came in. I was already doing something. Something was already going on. In the meanwhile, at the same time, another action happened. What was that? My friend came in. So the conjunction when, the the sentence which starts with the conjunction when is used in or is written in simple past tense, and the conjunction while, the part starting with the part of the sentence starting with while, is written in past continuous tense, which we will learn later. So students, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the session and have learned the simple present tense and simple past tense, their uses, and how to write sentences in affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences. Thank you, students, for watching the video.